Hello, everyone, and welcome to this educational webinar. My name is Juliet. I'm with Miranda Creative, and we are partnered with CT Veteran Grown to help bring marketing and business development tips to veteran farmers. Last year, we did several presentations. You can find those on the CT Veteran Grown YouTube channel. I'll mention a few that relate to what I'm talking about throughout the presentation. And this one specifically is direct-to-consumer marketing, how to directly reach current and potential customers. If you were with us last year, you saw me do more of a direct-to-business sales. That presentation comes from my experience working at a garden center in New Jersey, ranked one of the top 100 in the nation. I work directly with farms such as soaps, honeys, and other bee products, local baked goods, local craft workshops using trees and farm items. So I have a lot of experience working with local businesses from the buyer side of things. On top of that, I worked in other retail settings as well, and I currently find myself at Miranda Creative. I work with several other farm clients outside of CT Veteran Grown. I'm very passionate about agriculture and the outdoors, and I've done a lot of the certifications myself. So let's get started to talk about selling directly to the consumer. So on today's agenda, first, we're talking about the difference between selling to a business and the consumer. There's a few main channels that we will touch on. We'll talk about what to do now that you have that data, as one of the biggest selling points of direct-to-consumer marketing is that you have that data with the customers that you are reaching. And then we'll talk about how to mix the two together, as many businesses are doing both, not exclusive to one or the other. So direct-to-consumer is a business strategy where a company sells its products directly to consumers, bypassing traditional retail channels like stores or wholesalers, allowing them to control the entire customer experience and marketing message by interacting with consumers directly through online platforms and other channels. Selling to businesses, if you want more on this topic, you can find the YouTube channel if you look up CT Veteran Grown, or you can go to their website. Their YouTube video is linked. I have another one on approaching stores, markets, and restaurants and building those partnerships. For the sake of this presentation, I have a few key points. Some positives are you can reach a larger audience. You want to look for a partnership with audience overlap, but not market competition. You might have less profit margins, but you're moving more inventory and achieving a larger sales volume. And you're able to hold space in brick and mortar locations. In a saturated digital market, you can connect with customers on a shelf too. A lot of people are only selling online. A lot of major retailers have closed their in-person stores and only sell online. But there's still something to be said for online shopping and being in that space of with a consumer face to face. Won't play. It's gonna play. Okay. When you're selling to consumers, there are some advantages. You can get personalized marketing. You have access to that customer data. But what many people don't do is anything with that data. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the presentation. But you can really get tailored marketing campaigns here, having that direct access. You have stronger customer relationships, very important when you're a local business and a local farm. Direct interaction with customers enables businesses to build stronger relationships, leading to increased customer loyalty and advocacy. You have higher profit margins, no need for a third party to take a cut of the sale or to price lower to account for wholesale resale. Flexibility in pricing and promotions, set your own pricing strategies and run targeted promotions without restrictions from sellers. So you have a lot more control over how that inventory moves as well. We'll look at some specific channels. The ones we're looking at are highlighted, such as email marketing, social media marketing, SMS, text message marketing, influencer marketing, and using your own website. Some others that we aren't touching on, such as paid advertising. We discussed these topics in other videos, specifically one coming out within this year. Affiliate marketing, content marketing, event marketing, and other online marketplaces. But essentially, direct-to-consumer is any channel that allows you to directly engage with customers without intermediaries like retailers. So you'll see D2C, D2C, it's all same thing, just standing in for direct-to-consumer. The reason this is important is that 80% of your sales come from 20% of your existing customers. So it's, what do they say? It's easier to keep the same customer than it is to get a new one. So investing in those relationships that you have is very important. Within email marketing, you'll want to capture emails. It'll be more worth your effort if you have several hundred people to reach than if you're sending to 20. So some ways to do that. Do you have a newsletter subscription form on your homepage? Do you have a contact us page? Where are you able to put these opt-ins? You could have a social media link tree with a link to directly sign up for your emails. You'll be surprised where people will find you and how they want to reach you. Ideally, say you have something like MailChimp, that should be an embedded form on your website that will automatically populate to your database. Otherwise, you'll have a list of emails on your website that are not automatically integrating to your email platform, and you'd have to go in and manually import them whenever you remember, have the time. So that is very easy to set up to do on its own. You can also bring a QR code with you leading to a landing page for signups. So if you're at a market or some kind of event, you could have a little QR code for people to scan. If they love your product, they'll sign up for newsletters and see more about where they can find you. The two big platforms are MailChimp and Constant Contact. There are others. Maybe some websites have something built in, but with those being the two main ones, those are what I'm most familiar with. Maybe you'll find something else just based on pricing and the size of your business. But when I say MailChimp or Constant Contact throughout the presentation, you could interchange it with another email typically. Some tips for email marketing. You should set yourself to a schedule, whether that's monthly, weekly, or even if you just do seasonal holiday promotions, but people like to have that schedule. The headline will determine opens. So the better your headline, the more people will read your effort. I cannot emphasize enough how important that headline is. It is the make or break for people to read the rest of your email. So something catchy and clever or showing value, inside is a coupon, new products are here, getting that curiosity going. Consumers want to know what they will expect every newsletter. If every single one is something completely different, they won't really know what to expect and why to open it. So it's really great to have a template, and I put that highlighted. I included just a small template example, but not only will that help the customer, it will help you because when you go to build your email, it's not this daunting, I don't know what to put this time. You've got your content pillars, you're doing what's in season, recipes for what's in season, an update on how your dog is doing, and maybe a personal anecdote to help build a relationship with those who are reading your emails and interested. They'll really feel like they're getting to know you. Photos are very important. People love farms specifically because of how connected to the land it is. That's something that a lot of us are very removed for. People who work office jobs, people who are crazy busy, you blink and the seasons go by. And as a farmer, you're very connected to that land and what's in season and the weather. So by showcasing that with quality photos, you could take it on an iPhone. Um, but then you would have to email yourself the photos, download it to your computer, build the email. So you could also get a DSLR camera that has a memory card in it, put that in your computer, and it's a lot easier to transfer the photos off of it. Sometimes they do have a very high resolution, so you will want to resize them. There's ways in Photoshop or there's photo resizers online, but ideally you should have less than 200 bytes. Even less than 100 would be ideal. Sometimes, if you take off of your phone, it could be a 4 megabyte photo, and that is huge. It will be very difficult to download. It could get flagged by other emails, filters for being such a large file. So having optimized photos is very, very important. You'll hear my colleagues say this as well for the website. Photos are often much larger than they need to be. Another great thing about email is that it's not about an algorithm. You're reaching people directly. Maybe, if people aren't interacting, it might start going to spam depending on their filters, but overall, you reach people directly in their inbox. And whether or not they open the email, they see the notification and they're thinking of you. With an algorithm, You don't know if you're going to get in front of people. You don't know if the powers that be are going to put you on people's news feeds. So email has a lot more value with a robust list than a lot of organic social media can. Within social media marketing, you could use your organic posts to market to people. Typically, when we set up with a client, we have specific content pillars. So say they have 4 posts for the month, we would try and hit one of each content pillar. Sales is one of them. You should have a call to action to promote a product such as a new arrival, or if you want to highlight something that's not selling, offer a discount on it. That can be posted on organic. Some brand awareness, talking about life on the farm, some of your silly animals, cute dog in the snow, your chickens playing with each other. Some kind of personal connection to the audience, talk about educational tips, how the season's going, what's going on with farming right now, if there's a weather alert, and other community involvement. If you're heading to a market, if you're hosting an event, if you're collaborating with another local restaurant, if you're sponsoring maybe a sports team, and involvement in any of the ag fairs. Something I do want to touch on specifically is the profile page. On this page, you should ask, is your address clearly visible? Many places don't have an address listed. Is there a link to your website, whether it's in your bio or through a link tree? Do you have store hours, and are those in your bio? And does your paid ad mention your address? And I say this specifically because just this week, I received a targeted paid ad from a farm promoting their CSA, and I had never heard of it. So I assumed, okay, if I've never heard of it, they're probably not near me. But being in marketing, I went on the investigative trail. Their address was not in their paid ad. Their address was not on their profile. So I had to click to their website, and they didn't have any kind of map on their website. I didn't recognize the name of the town. So then I had to copy the address and Google it to find out where this farm is located. And it turns out they're over an hour away. And I, as a consumer, would not want to drive over an hour for a CSA. I love farms, but that is a bit out of my radius. So the reason I went on this journey is because I work in marketing and because I want to see how long is it going to take me to find the information that I need. The average person wouldn't do that. I'm not the average person. But that's an example of some of the hurdles you'll reach if you don't have your information clearly in your bio or in your paid ad. Most people will not look for it. Touching briefly on social platform sales, you've probably heard of TikTok Shop. There's also Meta Commerce Manager. There's a couple others out there. Some of the pros as to why people use this, you have less clicks to a sale. It's all about easiest user journey. And you can also link your products in photos and videos. But as someone who has e-commerce clients, I went to go set up a Facebook, Meta Commerce Manager for them. And I noticed, you could upload a spreadsheet, but all products had to be imported separately. But then I noticed the data is separate, including payment, inventory, and profit. So if we're tracking all of our sales in PayPal, there was no way to integrate that data with online social platform sales. So I would have to add up the profits from both and manage the inventory in both. And anytime I'm doing a monthly sales recap, add the profit from both. So it really wasn't friendly to having multiple sales channels. A lot of platforms will take a fee for discoverability for using their platform. And it's a lot of work for managing multiple storefronts. The return on your time investment is not going to be very high because I know Meta Commerce Manager has not done very well. They've been trying, but it also doesn't compete with TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop has done better. I know someone who knows someone who makes $100,000 a year, or if it was 30,000 a month, it was something crazy, selling t-shirts on TikTok Shop. So, a little different there, especially being a t-shirt, something that can ship nationally, if not globally. It's possible to have great sales on these platforms, but for what we're looking at and what we're working with, I wouldn't recommend it as a great use of time for a local farm. Something like Shopify has online website sales that sync with in-store and mobile POS sales to keep all data together. So if you set up your website on Shopify, you have your inventory there. So any online sales are also synced with any in-store sales at your register. And if you need to go mobile to a market, they have mobile POS systems that you can also take with you to the event and then have all that data synced together. So it's really good when you're at the beginning setup phase to think about something that can do all of those channels, because you never know how you'll grow and what you'll need, especially with everyone being so cashless these days and credit card based. There's also SMS marketing, so that's text messages. SMS marketing is great because the seasons go by so fast. Several of our farm clients use text messaging sparingly for important seasonal alerts. So the biggest one is in-season berry and fruit picking to say raspberries are in season, come on down, blueberries, apples, whatever it is. And people who are really interested in knowing what the updates are will sign up for those text messages. You can do CSA signups opening, any unexpected or weather-related closures, or other workshops and events as well. But the biggest one is certainly the pick your own farm updates. SMS marketing is highly effective because those who sign up want to hear from you and they want to support you. You don't give your phone number out to anybody. So just being mindful of what a privilege that is, but it's still a great return. You know, if you get a text message, that's 98% open rates. How often do you not read a text message? And 25% click-through rate on average, because those people are saying, yes, this is content that I want. Thank you for that information. You know, you can text out links and things as well. Pictures are a little bit more. They get expensive to text a photo, but that is an option. So there's many platforms. If you're already with MailChimp, you could look to use their text messaging. Textly, Twilio, I mean, you Google SMS messaging, and there's a lot of options that come up. Costs would probably be most optimal for smaller farm sizes to be 1 cent to 5 cents per message, depending on the provider and the number of messages sent. But others have monthly subscription plans, so maybe you do have a lot of people that you're texting. That one would be more of a monthly rate. Now, I say micro-influencer marketing. I'll talk through what the term influencer means. Influencer marketing often results in higher engagement rates. It's more effective in capturing attention and driving purchase intent. People love faces. Have you ever noticed on your own social media, you post a picture of a tomato, it gets a few likes. You post a picture of you, it gets 20 likes, 40 likes. It breaks the internet. People love to see that who people are. It's just part of our psychology. You can use influencer, micro-influencer marketing on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. It does appeal more to younger generations, as we're used to seeing that. There's a whole cultural around content creation. But if you do go this route, ask for the data. Ask them how many impressions, organic, paid, you know, the clicks, the engagement. You want to make sure that you did, in fact, get your investment out of what you paid for. Some people could buy followers and have a terrible engagement rate. So don't just look at their follower count. Look at how many likes they're getting on a photo. And that will tell you a lot about if those are genuine followers or not. So you want to find someone to work with your farm. A true influencer would have over 100 followers, 100,000 followers. They will be their own brand. If you talk about this with the social team, they get very passionate about it. After that will be content creators, people who make content, but they're not necessarily their brand. They've, you know, created a platform to shout out other businesses. And then you would have user-generated content, people who aren't any brand. It's just using someone's face to talk about the product because people resonate with that so much. So you could find a micro influencer. I mean, that's someone with probably 1,000 to 5,000 followers. They're working on their brand. There's, you know, certain, maybe you're trying to reach women with children, so you reach out to a mom with a following locally. Just ideally they're local and not national, because that will be the greater return on your investment. You can also look at brand ambassadors, which would probably be the best fit for a smaller farm with a very small marketing budget. Someone who's a brand ambassador would promote a brand in exchange for products and discounts. So you don't necessarily have to pay a brand ambassador. They will do it to spread the good word. They're usually someone very involved in the community. They have an outgoing personality. They have a great eye for creating content, but they're not necessarily generating a following on social media for the sake of becoming an influencer. So many different words and terms that you can use. We said influencer, content creator, user-generated content, brand ambassador, micro-influencer, however you want to call it. The point is you are using a person to go on location and experience your farm, or, cook something with your local meat or your local produce, and promoting it that way. So many different accounts you could look to target depending on what it is you're trying to do. Part of why this is so important, I know you've heard the term, you know it's a thing, but you might not feel the most comfortable asking someone to help you, or if you're not comfortable yourself being in front of the camera. 40% of consumers purchase after seeing an influencer recommendation, and 63% of shoppers are more likely to buy from an influencer recommendation. Meaning, if you ask someone to come stay at your farm and talk about how much fun that was, or give a shout out to your Meet CSA on their Healthy Mom for Healthy Kids blog and Instagram page, that will have a lot of influence in people trusting them and wanting to go support you as well. Your own website, people expect an experience similar to what major retailers spoil us with. I know I'm guilty of this, where I go somewhere and I think, oh, they're closed at 6. I guess they have a family. Um, so going online can really help support those sales, as we're used to, some of the major chain retailers being open till 9 or 10 p.m. And that's not feasible for the farm life. You can do online CSA purchases. A lot of CSAs have switched to the market style that allows people to purchase the vegetables they like rather than getting a lot of things that they might not eat or know how to cook. I personally enjoy the market style CSA. I participate in one myself. Online gift card sales allow people like me to add you to gift lists. For my birthday last year, I put a local farm. I got gift cards from several family members, and I was able to participate in the Meat CSA. So that can help increase. Maybe someone can't afford $200 of meat up front, but if you allow gift cards, that helps them be able to make that purchase. You could do your online event and ticket purchases. You could also go through Eventbrite, but they charge a fee unless it's free. You have the option to click, I'll take the burden of the fee, or pass that fee on to the consumer. But as you do it through your website shopping platform, you can eliminate that altogether. The pro to Eventbrite is that it does help with discoverability for people searching for events near them. You have online product sales. Many farms offer the convenience of online sales for convenient roadside or farm stand pickup. Busy people want to know that their trip is worth it. So I'm less likely to take a trip out to a farm stand if I don't know what's in your farm stand. Maybe you're out of stock for eggs. Maybe you didn't make any sourdough this week. So I have a screenshot here of Guardian Farms. They have their milk. They say pre-order milk online. You can order our deliciously fresh milk online, and we'll set it aside for you to pick up. So that helps the consumer say, I would like to support you when it's convenient for me. Let me know when I can swing by and pick it up on my own time. Some of these platforms include Shopify, Squarespace, WordPress, which uses WooCommerce. That one's a little more advanced. You'll hear me say Shopify a lot because it's one of the best. I think it's the easiest to use, and there's a lot of integrations. But there are others out there if you're using something else. If you would like to go more in depth on websites and e-commerce, we have 2 other trainings from Miranda Creative. One is Cultivating Digital Growth and Optimizing Your Farm Website. Another one is Website 101, Creating Your Farm Website. That one talks about the e-commerce section as well. But I would say, even if you don't know if you want e-commerce yet on your website, set yourself up so that you could have it if you want it. Maybe if you decide in a year you would like to, in fact, do online sales for people to pick up later from your farm stand on the roadside, you've already made those choices to get yourself in a better place for that. Oh,
Good evening, everyone.
There's pros and cons to embedding the video in a PowerPoint. So channels for direct-to-consumer, we saw this slide at the beginning of this section. We went over email marketing, social media marketing, SMS marketing, influencer marketing, and your own website. But again, there are more, such as paid affiliate content, event, and other ones. We'll talk on events a bit more, but this is any channel that you can engage directly with customers without a retailer. So looking a bit at events, not necessarily from the purchasing, but also from a community and engagement and brand awareness. I believe my face is blocking calf cuddles, so I'll put myself here. Events are great because you can connect with the community. I've seen free events like stargazing a meteor shower because farms are away from all the light pollution and you can just get people together to look at the sky, and that's a really beautiful thing. Or maybe you would like people to come feed the animals, or you have a maple syrup festival that is free to attend, but hey, let's buy some syrup while we're there. Things like that will encourage visitors to shop while they're on site, while also getting you very involved with the community. It's not a direct ask to purchase an event ticket and have a sale, but it is a great way to reach out. You could have paid events to highlight your skills and products, like a wreath making class, candle making, wine tasting. These things are directly bringing in revenue. And I also encourage recurring events that will encourage stable foot traffic and involvement. So if you have, the wreath making class every weekend during the holidays every year, that's great. I know to expect that next year. Or if every weekend you have calf cuddles, that's great. I'm going to put that on my radar for something to do when my friends and I are available. I wish you guys weren't so far. I would totally be there for calf cuddles. That's Guardian's Farm if you don't recognize. Looking at discoverability for events, I mentioned Eventbrite and how that takes a fee, but you are better discovered. So if you want more attendance, I have done this before with my friends. We search on the internet, events near me, and Eventbrite has a great discoverability algorithm, and they make it very easy to reach people. You should have an events page on your website. Maybe I love your farm, I'm your biggest fan, I want to be a supporter. And then you can optimize these for Google as well. That's a bit more technical than what we're going over today. But if you've ever noticed, Google will pull up events when you're searching something. You can optimize your data to be included on that events search, but that is, again, a more advanced back-end technique that we won't get into today. You also have Facebook events. So here's an example of over the summer, CT Veteran Grown did their Homegrown by Heroes Veterans Farmers Market, put that on Facebook. You can boost a Facebook event and put money behind that. And it's a great way to collect RSVPs, engage interest. Not a direct, not everyone who says they're going will actually go. Some people who didn't RSVP will show up, but it can give you some sense of headcount and numbers. When you're attending events, I know farming is exhausting, but promoting your farm is so important. So you probably have this on your radar. Holiday markets, farmers markets, ag fairs, the biggie, CT Veteran Grown was there. That's not this photo. Hi, Sarah. But I'm using this as an example for branding, how there's a table cover, how there's signage, how there's branded items that are being given away. So if you are there to sell your honey, to sell your syrup, to sell your flowers, having a solid branding will help people remember, oh, that's where I got that soap I loved so much. And when they see you again, they will flock to you like a bee to honey, like a moth to a flame. You can also work on donating to fundraisers and raffles for local organizations. I went to a fundraiser once just last year, and I heard all of these local businesses, they put their donations together. So it wasn't necessarily one massive raffle basket from one place, but I just heard local business after local business after local business being named with gift cards and coffee and candles, and I wanted that gift basket so bad. Didn't get it, but it's great to donate some items here and there to show your support for local communities. And then you can post that on social media. Love our products, go enter this raffle. Before you go to these events, looking at, do you have branded shirts? Do you have a farm uniform? Do you have a logo? The table banner, do you have your logo on your packaging? And ideally, you should have a QR code to capture emails and encourage social media follows. That way, if people want to see the next market they'll be at, they can scan your QR code, go right to your events page, and find you next. So making it as easy as possible for your followers to be fans. So we've been collecting data this whole time, right? Now we want to make sure that we're doing the most with it. So chances are you have ways to reach people that you aren't using if you are collecting customer information some way. You can capture the contact info with sign-up forms or exit intent pop-ups if you've ever moved your mouse to click out and all of a sudden the pop-up comes up that says before you go. That's called exit intent, to ask people to continue to engage with your website after they leave. Think about what information you're asking for. Are you only capturing emails? Are you capturing phone numbers? And could you already start SMS messaging with the data that you have? Do you have an address so that you could send them a coupon for being in your system? And always ask, how did you hear about us? I make sure, obviously, I work in marketing. I always fill that out. More often than not, I answer a Google search. You didn't find me, I found you. And that's, well, it's great that I still found you. But if you are putting out marketing efforts and someone said, I had to find you, perhaps you could re-examine the channels that you are pursuing. You can collect campaign data with custom URLs. So you can use Google Analytics 4's URL builder and add the UTM parameters in order to identify the campaigns that refer traffic, whether it's a QR code, paid digital ads, putting them on your newsletter clicks, so that if I click through your newsletter, if you have everything properly integrated, it should show up in your analytics. Okay, this came from a newsletter, but you can have your UTM tracking codes as well. I have explained to people so many times, this is my favorite party trick. If you click on something and you see UTM in the URL, and the URL is this long, but the actual page URL is this long, that means that there is a tracking code on that, and every time you use it, it gives them a hit that someone clicked through. So if you're ever copying, pasting someone a link, and you're like, why is this one link 4 paragraphs long? There's probably a tracking code in there, and you are passing that tracking code along. With Google Analytics and Meta Business Suite data, there's insight to traffic acquisition and some demographics as well. So you can see, oh, I'm reaching a lot of women in their 50s and 60s. I would like to reach maybe men in their 30s and 40s. I would like to reach women in their 20s. I want to have them Instagramming my farm maze and taking photos, drinking my wine. So seeing where you are reaching and where you should be reaching can be very helpful. Another piece is loyalty programs, or you could have membership benefits, such as in your CSA, that is saving 5% on produce because you're a member this year, or other coupons that can encourage repeat customers. Something people often ask about with these coupons and loyalty programs is, are you giving away money? So for example, if someone earns $10 in their loyalty program and they don't know that they earned it because you haven't communicated that with them through your marketing, when they arrive and you go, oh, you get $10 off your purchase, they would have spent that money anyways. They didn't know that they had $10 off. I ran into this a lot when I was working at the garden center, because their loyalty program, it was this huge, massive system that all their inventory was hosted on, but it wasn't optimal for marketing campaigns. There was no way to email people, hey, you earned $5, come into the store and spend it. Or, hey, you've got $10 waiting for you that's going to expire in 30 days. You should come into the store. So because we couldn't tell people that their money was expiring, it never expired. So someone could have $30 sitting on their rewards account, come in a year later and go, oh, what a great surprise. I was going to spend this money anyways. So that's what I mean by, were they going to spend it anyways? So if you have a loyalty program, the idea is to drive purchase intent. It is not, yes, it is rewarding them, but you have to be able to communicate with those people with those rewards that they are earning. You could also keep it old school with a punch card. I've participated in those still as well. I have several in my wallet. So if you have a website, they usually have loyalty plugins or some kind of apps available. You go to the App Store on Shopify or WordPress, look for loyalty program apps, read the reviews, see what you can install, or talk to someone who knows about this, and get the loyalty program started that way. Such as, preferred customers who shop there every year, giving them first access before someone who might be new to your farm. Something important that not many people know, you can use your Shopify data to send personalized campaigns that drive customer loyalty and repeat sales. Forgot to add through MailChimp specifically. You can integrate that data. So you could go in and say, I would like to send an email to someone who has not shopped here in a year and say, come back, we miss you. You could say, I would like to send an email to someone who shopped here in the last 30 days and say, we're having a post-Christmas sale. I would love to give you first access because you supported us during the holiday season. So using that data that you have can be very important and strategic when increasing sales and reaching specific customer groups. You'll also want to look at Google reviews if you don't have Google My Business set up. We do have that in, I believe it's the Optimizing Your Website. Greg talks about the Google My Business page. If you have positive reviews, that will reward your Google ranking, your reputation, and can be used for social media posts. So this is an example of website integration. Maybe you've seen this before on websites, giving a direct 5 stars, 5 stars, that was a wonderful calf cuddling experience. 5 stars, I love staying overnight on your farmstead. 5 stars, I bought chickens from you and they are so hardy and great layers. Thank you. So encouraging that way. There's also something called a tap tag, which can be used for engagement. So apparently QR codes, old news. We still use them, but now the cool thing to do is just tap your phone, and by your phone touching that tap tag, it will bring up your Google review page. So this is called a tap tag, where they offer both options. You could scan the QR code to bring it up, leave the Google review, takes you right to the Google My Business landing page, or you could just hold up your phone, tap the card, and it's that easy, leave a review. You don't have to open up your camera, click the link, go through. So who knows what the next step is? They're just going to directly into your brain next. I don't think there's anything else after this. Other media you own. This is a term that's been surfacing lately as we're talking about data that you own. These are things that you control. So not like social media, not like selling on another website platform with another retailer. You can do direct mail. If you are capturing people's addresses when they sign up, you could send out coupons and, it's almost farm CSA time. You can have displays in your store, do other print mailers, do rack cards. There's a lot with the Big E has a tourism section for people to put their rack cards in. The local rest stops on the highway. I have a tourism client who has their rack cards in there as well. So if you offer farm experiences, you could put your rack cards at the rest stop. Exterior signage. So here I have an example of Rosa Farm. This is her farm stand. So if anyone driving by sees that, they'll see her logo. You see the chickens and eggs, you have an idea of what they sell before you even stop. I can look up Rosa Farm and find the website to learn more. And all I did was drive by. So you are reaching people for free by putting up that signage. And other local ads in newspapers and things, because if you're reading your local newspaper, then you're probably interested in what's happening locally and the local business. All right, so we're at the last section, kind of, balancing business to business with direct to consumer. So you want to make sure you're not competing with yourself. Ideally, you're placing your products in stores that will help you reach a market outside your radius. What is my radius? 93% of consumers say they typically travel no more than 20 minutes to make everyday purchases. 87% of them won't go beyond 15 minutes. So that is about your radius. When you target on Meta, it's a circle. So depending on how the roads go, it's not going to be an exact time distance, but that can give you an idea on where to target. As I mentioned at the beginning, I had a farm targeting me that was an hour away. I am not going to sign up for a CSA an hour away. So making sure that you're keeping that in mind, can be great to get more impressions, but are they of any value? I included, or let's get ahead of myself. Selling wholesale will mean you have lower profit margins, but you're selling higher quantities, resulting in an overall higher profit. So there are many benefits to partnering with a business in addition to having your own marketing. And it would be great if you have a Find Our Products map locator. So again, maybe I encountered your soap at a market that I went to, and I don't happen to be out your way often, but I loved how soft the soap was that you had. If you have a Find Our Products map locator, I could find you in a store that's 10 minutes from my house. And I would be happy to be a loyal customer to find you 10 minutes from my house instead of the 30 to 40-minute drive that you might be. So here's an example from the CT Veteran Grown website. Find a veteran-owned or operated farm near you. They even have filters for specific products. I could look for honey. I could look for tomatoes, or any certifications, on-farm experiences, or specifically the name. So you could have something like this on your website to say, find what products we're selling in which stores, or all of them, every store that you're carried in, so people can better reach your items. And that will help you as well, to move your in-store sales and make sure they keep coming back for more. So at this point, we're going to cut to an interview. I did go and speak with the River Valley Provisions owner. His name is Ken. He knows a lot about local products. He is a local grocery store in Haddam, Connecticut, and I was drawn to asking him for an interview because of how many local products I see whenever I go there. And you'll see it throughout the video. There's drinks, teas, cheese, eggs, syrups, milk, pasta, sauce, chocolates, all kinds of locally made products specifically from Connecticut. So I'm going to ask him a few questions. It's audio, but you'll get to look at pictures of the items as well. So roll the tapes.
So sitting with me here is
Ken Diehl, and I'm the owner of River Valley Provisions
and where is that located?
in Haddam, Connecticut.
Okay. So we have a few questions for you. I noticed you have a lot of local products, maple syrup, ice cream, eggs as well. So I wanted to ask you about how local businesses are partnering with you to sell that. So what do people need in order to sell with you?
Usually, the businesses or the farms bring in their product. They give us a sample, see if we try it, see if we like it, and on that note, we usually bring it in and they actually promote it a little bit with different kind of advertisement.
Do they need to show you sales data as well from other locations?
We'd like to see sales data every once in a while just to see where they're selling it, how much they're selling of it, and if it's really moving in our area.
From a business standpoint, would they need to have any kind of tax or reseller or health certificate information?
The health certificate is usually done through the farm or their place of business so they can sell it wholesale. And then we just make sure that it's convenient for us to have their knowledge of different products.
And the tax ID as well?
Tax ID, yes.
Okay. How important is it to have good packaging? Is that something people should invest in?
Has to be appealing to the customer. Obviously, if it's not appealing, people are not going to buy it, and it's just not going to move.
What kinds of order forms do you get? Are they more paper or more online portals?
It's mostly paper. Either that we call it in, or they call us once a week just to see if the product's moving.
Do you have them meet specific sales goals to continue selling the product?
We make sure that we can actually sell it before the expiration date that's put on the packaging. If we have a few left, we'll try it again. And if it doesn't work the second time around, then we usually part ways, or they can bring in a different product that they have.
Would you sell competing farms items, say eggs from two different places, or do you put a block once you're partnered with someone?
We actually will bring in different kind of eggs, different kinds of milk, as long as they're not too far competing with each other from a close proximity of each other.
What happens with unsold or expired inventory? Is that your loss or the farm's?
It could go either way. Either it's the farm's loss. If they give us credit, we're more apt to bring it back. And if they don't give us credit, if we have stuff that we have to throw out ourselves, of course, we don't want to take the loss. So then we just part ways that way.
Is there anything people can do to promote sales in your physical store?
They give us some promos, or if they could run sales on some things every once in a while, we'll put it on sale, run it on our Facebook page, maybe put it in the paper, and hopefully we can push a product that way.
Okay, and how do you feel about if a wholesaler also sells their product? How do you establish that you guys aren't competing in the same market?
That's actually a tough one because we never really know where all their products go. It's up to the farm to really promote their own product.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We're all about marketing our own products and making sure that their sales are staying active so they can keep on growing. So thank you so much for your time, Ken.
All right,
This was
you're welcome.
wonderful.
All right, welcome back. So now we're looking at one more piece of his interview. Of course, people say things off the tapes. He had so much knowledge. It was a wonderful conversation. Two things that Ken had mentioned while we were walking around the store looking at products was the importance of packaging and delivery. I will move my little face. Ken shared that packaging is extremely important for catching the customer's eye. So we have down here, this is Rosa Farm, her soaps and her farm stand. Up in the top, that's Rose Hill Farm. So that is another client that Miranda Creative designed just packaging for. It was not a full, social media website, all that. It was just the branding of their packaging. And that's very important to have because truthfully, if you don't have a pretty package, people aren't going to look at the item and they're not going to pick it up off the shelf. Uh, Personally, I will buy things just because they're cute. Did I need that kombucha? No, but I love the design on the packaging, so I bought it. My husband tells me I'm very easy to market to. He also shared that he is more likely to purchase from a local business if you offer to deliver to his store. So I'm sure you're busy, and he's busy. But most store owners will say, if you make it easy for me, then I will carry your product. Okay. So here's my wrap-up slide. That marketing is intimidating, but it is so worth it. This may all seem overwhelming to manage while running a farm, but there's so much value in marketing your business. Some of these things are very granular, and some of them are basics that I think everybody should do. Posting on social media, having your Google My Business page, having a website with basic information. So if you aren't comfortable doing these things on your own, you could consider hiring someone. Your marketing budget should be a percentage of your revenue. A common rule of thumb is that a business-to-business company should spend between 2 and 5% of their revenue on marketing, and business-to-consumers should set often have higher, between 5 and 10%. So we've covered both. Maybe you are doing both. You have your wholesale side and your retail side, but that's ideally a rule of thumb. And as that marketing pays off, you should see an increase as well. That includes the media budget you're spending on paid ads and things like that, as well as paying someone to enhance your website and make those emails for you. But if the marketing is good, you should see your sales increase as well, and that direct payoff from those investments. If you want to learn more about Miranda Creative, you're welcome to email us at contact@Miranda Creative, visit our website, follow us on social. I hope you guys had a wonderful, informative session, and I will see you in the next one.